What a difference a day makes. What a difference a game makes. And that's the best thing about baseball. So you could be in a little bit of a rut, then you play, you get a win, and everything changes. And the Cubs beat down the Cardinals, loved it, and they look for a series split today with Shota Imanaga. We talked about all of the potential trades that the Cubs could make for a starting pitcher. But don't count them out on a blockbuster for a third baseman. And names keep popping up. So we're going to talk about two of those prominent names. And maybe it's a wish list thing for the Cubs, but it's worth getting into on the show and more right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you guys for being here. And it's a great day for a day baseball game. Let's talk a little bit of Cubs baseball. What do you say, everybody? It's Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel, and I'm on the socials at Broadcaster Mick. Always great to see you guys. Always great to talk to you guys. And wonderful when we can get together and talk about a Cubs win. Cubs finally got a chance to play the Cardinals. First game didn't turn out great. Second game made some mistakes, looked a little bit lackluster. The starting pitching wasn't fantastic. Matthew Boyd changed all of that with a dominant performance, and now we got Shota Imanaga pitching today, right? We're going to talk about that later on in the show. But look, what I want to start with is some of these reports that keep popping up that the Cubs could be potentially shopping for a third baseman. Now, they've given Matt Shaw a pretty good opportunity to cut his teeth. And one thing that I will tell you is I think the guy's going to be pretty good. I see it. His defense, he's made some amazing plays over at third base. His bat, his base running. There's times where it looks like he's a little bit kind of overpowered by the major league pitching, but it's a growing process. I mean, look how long it took Pete Crow Armstrong to kind of become someone that you could really rely on. And I think that's eventually going to happen. But if the Cubs want to win the World Series, they would love to get some major production from that third base spot. And it goes back to me to the trade that they made to get Kyle Tucker. They went all in to get Kyle Tucker. They traded Isaac Paredes, and they also traded Cam Smith, which could come back to haunt them, and Hayden Wesneski. They sold Cody Bellinger to the Yankees and gave him $5 million, didn't get anything back. And then the deal that they made to get Isaac Paredes last deadline to play third base, which included Hunter Biggie, who was hit in the face by a line drive, by the way. And just glad to know that he's recovering after the ball came off the bat at like 105 miles an hour. So definitely thoughts and prayers and positive energy going his way because it was terrible and had to have surgery. Anyway, gave up a lot for this team, right? And they depended on Shaw to be the third baseman. John Birdie and Bruhan, they're just not everyday players. They don't even play that much anymore. And you're looking at the Cubs and you're going, what are they going to do at third base? Well, Jeff Passan has put a couple of ideas out there, and a guy that he named as someone that the Cubs could potentially be interested in is a guy that I've always been kind of a fan of. Now, I know he strikes out a lot, but I'll tell you what, he is always dangerous at the plate, and he just hit his 300th home run, and that's Eugenio Suarez, right? Third baseman, power hitting guy, 33 years old. He's batting .251, or last check he was, 25 home runs, 67 runs batted in, and a 2.6 WAR. And what I like about him is that I feel like when I look at the Cubs lineup, if they just had one more big bat, and some of you guys have, gotten into the comments section, love when we talk baseball, and you're like, hey, how is Dansby Swanson so high in the lineup? You know, you would love to see him kind of go down. You put Suarez right there in the mix with Tucker and Turner, and Suzuki and Pete Crow Armstrong, and just the way that you could work the lineup. I feel like, look, Kyle Tucker's been great. Pete Crow Armstrong's been great. You know what you're getting from Ian Happ. Who would have ever thought that Seiya Suzuki would be as good as he's been this year? I mean, the guy's going to set career marks for home runs and RBIs when it's all said and done. You put this guy right there, and it's just one more to make that lineup even tougher. And World Series teams have tough lineups. And the other thing I like about Suarez is I just think he's a good guy. I think he seems like a great clubhouse guy everywhere he's been, and it's going to cost to get him. But it feels like the Diamondbacks are going to be dumping payroll if they trade Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly and this guy. Think about the trade that the Cubs would have to make to get those two of those, one of the starters and him. But they have the prospects to do it, and it feels like they're all in. It's like yesterday's show, we talked about all the chips in. This is an all chips in move. So Passan feels like it's a 5 out of 10 chance that the Diamondbacks trade Suarez. Would he go to the Cubs? I think the Cubs would be big-time listeners, and I could see them making a deal. And the other part about it is the Matt Shaw part of it, right? You make a deal, and all of a sudden, do you put Matt Shaw as one of your utility guys? Do you drop Birdie or Brujan and move Shaw in there? Shaw obviously has more pop than those two guys. He can play, the infield spots, second, short, and third. He can run the bases. Probably not as good of a runner as Birdie. Brujan got in the game the other day and immediately made a mistake, but he never plays. So I kind of felt bad for him. I didn't want to get on to him for it because baseball is a rhythm, and if you're never playing, then it's hard to really get in that rhythm, right? So Shaw, I think it's a 50-50 chance. The Cubs may say, hey, you know what? We're going to option Shaw back if we make a deal. I don't think that's a good idea long-term. I think you leave him on the roster and let him learn. Let him be around the team because he is definitely the future for the Cubs. So I would see one of those two utility spots be for him, and then you pick the other guy, right? That's what I'm looking at. Now, another interesting Jeff Passan trade potential candidate, this thing he put out with these 50 guys that he could see being traded. How about Alex Bregman? Now, wouldn't it be something if the Red Sox traded Alex Bregman? Cubs and Red Sox and other teams wanted Bregman. He ended up signing with the Red Sox. I remember talking about it, and they're like, well, he wouldn't want to go to the Cubs because right-handed batters don't get to hit doubles and da-da-da-da-da, right? And he signed a big contract with the Red Sox. But they traded Rafael Devers. Bregman's dealt with some injuries. He's actually been good when he's been healthy. The Red Sox are, not going to contend for a World Series. Boston, is paying him a lot of money, but it feels like, Passan feels like, I guess, that there's a potential that maybe they move him anyway. And that it wouldn't be totally out of the realm of possibility if they decided to trade him. Now, I don't know what that would look like. I can't imagine that being a deal that would be made, but if you don't have a no trade clause, and the team can move you. And I saw a story my friend Michael Bronner wrote, put it out there. Then I go back and I look, and I'm like, yeah, this is Passan saying that. Hey, there's a chance. Look, if the Cubs, I'm sure the Cubs would love to have him. And to me, if you could even pick between Suarez and Bregman, I take Bregman just because of the success that the guys had in the postseason. And the Astros were constantly bidding for World Series when they had, when they had Tucker and they had Bregman and, and a lot of other guys too, but they were two of the main pieces in that lineup, and it would make the Cubs lineup way more complete if they had Bregman. But if I'm the Red Sox, there's just no way. If I got to compete with the Yankees and Toronto and, Tampa Bay and Baltimore, up until this year, you want to have guys that are going to be able to go in and make some plays and drive in some runs. And you got to sell tickets too. And Bregman's one of those guys that people want to show up to see. So I think there's a very low possibility, but worth talking about, because the Cubs are going to want to do something to fix this third base spot. And it's not that Shaw, and you guys know I'm been a Shaw guy, and I'm going to continue to be a Shaw guy. It's not that I think that he's long-term not going to be successful. I could even see him being the third baseman the rest of this year. But when you listen to the Cubs talk about it, the way that I heard Craig Counsell talking about Shaw in an interview on Marquee, I can tell that they're still concerned about what he's going to be able to do this season. Not long term. I think they feel like he's going to be a good ball player. But this season and with this team, that's a spot that they want probably more production with. And defensively, he's been great, but I think offensively. All right, so that's the third base deal. Cubs take on the Cardinals today, and he's back. Last year's only All-Star, Shota Imanaga, returns to the mound. Now, when I'm recording the show, I don't know what the roster move's going to be. Probably Porter Hodge option or somebody optioned down. I'm curious to see what Shota looks like. The funny thing about Shota is that he's been on the IL since May 5th, but it was a hamstring strain. It wasn't an arm injury. His arm should be in really good shape and ready to go. He's been rehabbing in AAA. He's ready to return. It's exciting to have him back on the mound, and he is someone that the Cubs have somehow been able to kind of hang in there without through this entire process. And the starting pitching in the Seattle series and then in the first two games of the Cardinals series before Matthew Boyd just wiped the Cardinals out yesterday has been not good to bad. I feel like this guy solidifies the rotation. We already know that Ben Brown's is the guy out. He's back to Iowa. I don't think he's done for the year. I just think he's there right now. And I think that Shota Imanaga coming back is really going to help the Cubs a lot. But we're on trade watch. And the Cubs are definitely looking to make a move to add another frontline starter. I'm sure if they could get the right bullpen piece, they would take it. And having Shota back should make this team a little bit better. And so far this year, they've played really good baseball. But like I said yesterday, and a lot of you guys kind of agreed with me in the comment section, you're going to go through streaks like this. And the way that you deal with it is you just go back out there the next day and try to get back into playing the type of baseball that you're capable of playing. And that was early and often last night. So great win over a team that I love to beat, those Cardinals. All right, look, like and subscribe, thumbs up. I know Cardinals fans, it's a lot for you guys, but Cubs fans, appreciate you being here. Let's get this quest. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for being a part of what we do here on a daily basis. We'll talk to you after the game today, and we'll see what happens. But it just feels like the calm before the storm. Talked about it in the last few videos. And I'll keep on covering, any of the trade rumors and such. But Cubs still on pace to win the division, still on pace to make the postseason, and I think those are the most important things. But thank you guys for being here. Great win. I got the dub flying right there. See it? It flies all the time in this house. Go Cubs.